Hello, and now it's time for part 5 of Captured in the Psych Ward. Here it goes. You see, Ron Cooper and his ex-wife Sally went on a cruise around Noumea and New Caledonia, and they really enjoyed that a lot. And while they were on the cruise, Brad was in a foul temper because everyone was watching shows he doesn't want to watch. And Robert told Brad that in life shit happens. And Brad said, "Fuck off," and started to argue with the nurses, saying he is the Buddhist Messiah and needs to be given a special drug to take him to Nirvana. And he had a smart aleck nurse say, "I ain't religious, so I don't care. And I think Nirvana is a rock band, not eternity." Okay, Patty walked in and said, "I want to see the nurse." And when the nurse came, Patty said, "I have just come from Washington, D.C., and I saw President Obama and introduced myself, and he was proud to meet the good old George Washington. You see, well, anyway, thank you for that ticket to the States. It was much appreciated." And Martin Kelly was banging on the wall loudly, very loudly, and suddenly saying, "You cunt, you cunt, you cunt." And Anne, who was on the other side, said, as she was walking past, "You fucking stop banging on the wall, you kid grabber or pedophile. Yeah, you stop banging, you pedophile, or I'll bash you up. I am going to bash you up. You ain't going to hide here forever. One day the hospital will say you're fit to go home. But when I see you out there, mate, I will bash you, cunt, you stupid bloody pedophile." And Robert got up to take a whiz, and they brought lunch out, and a fight broke out between Anne and Brad, and Susan started to interrupt the nurses. Were having a hard time. They had to bring in the doctors with the Valium to lock them in their rooms. And Ron and Sally are having a great time in New Caledonia, walking around. And Ron's leg is getting better. And you see Ron and Sally are really beginning to hit it off as they are in a pub having a scotch. And back at the HDU, Brad and Anne were cursing at each other. Fuck you, through the walls. Both wanted enough power to break the walls. No one could do that. But they couldn't hear each other because they were on opposite sides. If each other, and Susan went out and said, "Shut up!" and went over to the TV and said to Robert, "We are watching TV. Please don't talk to me. I ain't into talking to kids, so just keep your conversation to a minimum." And Patty Rowe said, "How about you shut up, Susan? Robert is a funny little kid. I like him." And Susan said, "Fuck off, you cunt." And then Kate walked around the whole psych ward, and as she passed Brad's room, she said, "Why don't you shut the fuck up?" And Ron and Sally were having intercourse in the cruise, and the new patient was being driven by the police to HDU, but this was going to be a strange situation. You see, young 19-year-old Jack Drend had tied up a 10-year-old who teased him, and it ended up killing him. And to that day, the police have been trying to crack this murder case, and the boy's parents were told that Jack is mentally ill, and it isn't, and isn't going to jail and going to the HDU. And the boy's parents couldn't accept that. Nah. So they stole a police paddy wagon, dressed up as a policeman, and took Jack hostage, saying he is going to the HDU. And instead they took Jack into their house and tied him up in their son's room. And this was part of their plan to make Jack suffer for what he did. And this is going to be sweet revenge. And back at the hospital, when they got the phone call saying that Jack wasn't there, well, they rang the police, and yes, they knew where he lived. But it would be a nightmare to get there. And the next day, Ron and Sally's ship was arriving in Sydney Harbour. And when they arrived there, Ron said goodbye to Sally, who lived in Sydney, as she drove him to the airport. And then Ron boarded the plane for Melbourne. And when he touched down in Melbourne, Ron got his luggage and got a taxi home. And dropped off his bags. And before he unpacked, he put the 3 o'clock news on 9 and heard about Jack being tortured by his victims. But the police said Jack was supposed to be at the Royal Melbourne Hospital HDU, High Dependency Unit. And Ron went straight there to see if everything is all right. And he got there and clocked in and went to the HDU and said what had happened and how did this fall through the cracks. And the nurses said that the family of the victim didn't like the idea of him being sent here. You see, it's too nice for him. And Ron said they can't think taking the law in their own hands like this. And Ron went into the HDU to check out the patients and saw Robert and Patty in the common room and Susan and Kate knitting together in the dining room. And Kate asked, "How was your cruise?" And Ron said, "It was bloody good, and my leg is healed. And are you feeling all right?" And they said, "Yeah." And they went to Solitary to say hi to Martin and George and Anne. And they said, "Fuck off, cunt." And Anne said, "Did you enjoy your cruise?" And Ron said, "I did." And then they said hi, and Brad said, "Fuck off." And when he found out it was Ron, the first question he asked was, "How was your cruise? And do you know it's great that you can go on a cruise while we are locked in here? You see, you are like fucking Rupert Murdoch with those poor Fox dollar suckers." And then the dinner cart was coming out, and Ron clocked off and went home to make some stir-fry with Singapore noodles. And looked out the window, and 2 young people were having a domestic. And at first Ron said, I'll leave them alone. But suddenly the bloke got out his gun and threatened to kill her and called the cops and went down to save the woman. And the man has paranoid schizophrenia, which was bloody obvious. And it took 25 minutes for the cops to arrive, and when they did, the man was arrested and sent to the station, and the lady thanked Ron. And Ron asked, "Are you going to be okay?" And she said, "Yeah." And Ron went up to her unit and sat on the couch and watched the TV and fell asleep on the couch. He has had a hard day, particularly after he just came back from a holiday. It's been a bloody hard day. Okay, so that was a great story. That's number 5 of Captured in the Psych Ward. Hope you enjoyed. There's still more to come.